Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. And it looks like the Facebooks that we have open are working.
So far, so good.
Yeah. We're on Meet the Author podcast and also on the WLFEDB Facebook page. And they're working. So hallelujah. Hi, Rob and Joan. Facebook works. Joe Conjal. Yes.
So far, so good. You know, you never know, though. So,
everything's
nobody
working.
Sneeze. No sneezing.
The YouTube stations, LinkedIn, X, formerly known as Twitter, it's all working. So
there you go.
We're happy.
It's been quite a couple of weeks here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as far as what's coming up, tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, www.wdjyfm.com. You can catch our show, will be aired there, or listen to 99.1 in FM in Atlanta. And it's a show featuring Mike Clifton, author Mike Clifton from Texas.
And it's at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock Eastern time here in the U.S. Saturday afternoon or evening at 5:30 p.m., you have episode Rewind. This week it is a tribute to Caleb Pirtle III. Which is one that if you haven't seen it, you should watch. 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, right here where you're watching right now. And then next Wednesday, we're going to visit with Peter Crowley. He's an author and a poet. He's published by Cab Publishing in London, but he is in Boston, so he'll be local here. And that's at 7 o'clock Eastern time, same place, same station. Want to hear about the top 6 audio downloads internationally?
Okay.
For this last 30 days. The U.S., of course, number 1. But number 2 comes in at the U.K., is registering in number 2.
Yeah, UK.
Bangladesh moved into the number 3 slot.
Interesting.
Finland moved up to number 4.
Wow.
And Russia slipped to number 5. Come on, Russia, step up.
Hello,
and
everybody.
Australia popped in on number 6.
Good for you, Australia, England, and everybody. We're glad you're here.
Got
Paul Hollis says, hey,
Hi,
Rob
Paul.
and Joan. Hello, Paul. We're so glad you're in the audience. And Joy York says, hi, Joan and Rob. Hi, Joy. How are you doing?
Okay. In the news.
Yes.
We got a new release coming up here on March 3rd. It's available for pre-order now. And there are some ARC copies available, advanced reader copies available. If you wanted to promise to do a review on one, you can get a copy of that. It's a children's book, a new one by author Steve Altier, Blast Off with Gabby and Maddox. So
he was on the show a couple of weeks ago.
He
lives
about
here
his
in
others.
Tampa.
And now it's out and ready to be, you can check him out at www.stevealtier.com. That's ALTIER.com. And then coming up on February 20th is book number 21 in the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles, written by C.W. Hawes. It's Who Mourns Electra? And I think you can get a special deal on that if you sign up on his newsletter. You get an advance price early on that. And that's at www.cwhawes.com. That's CWHAWES.com. But sign up for his newsletter, and you'll get a special deal when that book comes out.
Marjorie Deering said, hi, I had to join on YouTube again tonight. It doesn't matter as long as I can find you. I think not Indie Book Source. I think the
Meet the Author
podcast Facebook is now working, as is the WLFEDB radio station Facebook page is now working. But we're glad you're here, Marjorie.
No matter how you got here.
No matter how you got here.
It's always good to have you with us.
You're on YouTube, it looks like.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
That's good. YouTube's good too.
That's all the news I have right now.
That's
And by the way, if anybody wants, has a new release coming up or anything, email us and
we'll try
give
and
you a little
mention
mention. Yep.
Yeah, Marjorie is right. She's on Facebook, YouTube. George Dismuke says, okay, I'm here. Nadine is here. Daisy is here. Gizmo is here. Facebook is working.
George, Nadine, Daisy, Gizmo, welcome. And there's special woof, woof to Daisy and Gizmo.
We're glad you're here, George.
Oh boy.
And Nadine and Daisy and Gizmo.
Yes.
And Missy's sleeping down here on
Missy's
her
asleep.
sofa.
She's out of it.
Not her cushion, I mean, not on the sofa.
Would you like to introduce our guest before time is up and we have to shut it off?
Yeah. And don't forget, we'll have to say good night to our Atlanta viewers, but the rest of us will be continuing on with the show. So don't worry when we say that. We're not going to be going off the air.
We have DJ McCool here saying, glad to make it on here tonight. Glad to have you with us, Del.
We're glad you're here. All right. So tonight we have an author who was a sports writer for a wire service. Then he wrote for the Boston Herald. He had executive positions at Westinghouse Broadcasting, CBS, Xerox. He moved to Los Angeles to become a screenwriter. He then became a licensed and bonded literary agent, representing writers and directors in television and films. All right. He then was an agent for Major League and professional baseball players, clients represented in Major Leagues for Boston Red Sox, St. Louis Cardinals, and the Kansas City Royals. And he is now an author and has been an author through all of that. So he's had quite an interesting life and career. And Robert White is here.
Hello,
Robert. How are you doing?
From Australia.
We're glad that you could make it. Anyway, let's introduce our guest without any further ado.
Okay.
Vincent Panettiere. Hi.
Hi, Rob. Hi, Joan. I'm happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me. It's really an honor to be on and have this opportunity to talk to you.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. And you want to tell everybody a little bit about how you got started with writing? And
well, it's something that was always there in the back of my mind for years and years, and it was never the right time. You had to earn a living, on and on, all those excuses. And finally, having gone through, I sold those script to 20th Century Fox. That didn't get produced. I tried raising financing. Anyhow, ultimately, I had some scripts that I had written that I didn't sell, and I decided to turn them into novels, thinking that would be, I had material, and that was, they were assets that were waiting to be developed. And so I started out one day, those are the books. And I found NaNoWriMo. Now, maybe people know it, maybe they don't know it. National Novel Writing Month. How to write a novel in 30 days, 50,000 words in 30 days. And I thought, well, that could be something I could. So I did. So I started writing it, and within 30 days, I had the 50,000 words, and I'd done it. I needed that push that, I had to have a goal, which was 50,000 words in 30 days. I did it, and it was there. And I thought, okay. I even got the T-shirt that says that I wrote the novel.
Did you sleep at all during that 30 days?
Well, I ended up needing to find a reason to put a recipe for spaghetti sauce at the end to reach the 50,000 words.
There you go.
So it was done. And then I thought, well, okay, that was done. And maybe let's look at some of these screenplays. And that was a resource that I could, it wasn't exactly, you can't take a screenplay, which is not, you have to expand on it. And I did. So that got published. And then after that, in the last 10 years, I guess 4 more novels got published. So that's how I got started. And I just said, okay, we have to have a goal. We have to have something motivating you. It started out being 50,000 words in 30 days, but then it was, I started this book. I have to finish this book. And the one we're going to talk about tonight is a book that is absolutely whole cloth. I did it. That's the one, These Thy Gifts. I didn't really know where I was going. I just got on the road and started one scene after another, and ultimately it was finished. And it is my favorite book because of what it is and the way I wrote it, which was, I didn't know where I was going, but I got to the end, and it was a wonderful, wonderful trip for me.
Joe Conchel says, hi, Vincent. What do you find harder, to write screenplays or novels?
Well, I think everything is hard to write because you ultimately face a blank page. What do you do? I mean, it's a blank page. And that is a terrifying thing. But once you get started and you start doing it, that just encourages you to keep going. So right now, I think I'd rather write novels because I have more control over it. Because I write it, it's done. I can get it published independently or whatever, and I have control. When you're a screenwriter, you are at the mercy of levels of bureaucracy that you can't imagine. And most of the people, at least that I faced, were born in the previous century. And so, it sounds like I'm being critical, and I'm being not politically correct, but range of experience of one person can't be compared to the range of experience of some person who's just started having a range of experience, because I don't care if they came from Vasa or wherever they come from. It's not the same, and so I'd rather do it myself and have control over it. That's basically one of the reasons why I like being independently published writer, author.
I do too. Chris Crispin just popped in. He said, hi, Rob and Joan. Good evening, Vincent. Hi, Chris. Glad to see you here.
Good evening, Chris.
Go ahead.
That's ultimately the book that I wrote for NaNoWriMo. I did publish. It's not a huge book, but it is really just a stream of consciousness, and that's the way I wrote it. To finish the 50,000 words, and it's done all right. It's sold. I mean, when we're talking about selling, we're not talking about hundreds of thousands of copies. It's sold, and it found an audience, and okay, I'm happy.
And what about These Thy Gifts? Do you know how many words are in that one?
No, I don't. I mean, it's a lot more words than I
bet.
Check, but it's I'll tell you what it is. It's 471 pages. 470. I think it's more than that. 474 pages. 474 pages. So that's a lot more than 50,000 words, I think.
Yeah, probably.
But it was a terrific experience for me. I've tried to do it again. I haven't found the subject to do it again. I'm trying to do that now. I have another novel started. I have 11 and a half chapters, and I don't know where it's going to go or where it's going to end up. And I've been away from it for a while for a couple of reasons, and I realize now, being away from it, it needs to be changed a lot. I need to rip out a character, and I never really like to do that. I'm probably not like a lot of writers, but maybe I am. I don't know. I don't like to rewrite. I rewrite all the time, though. I read it and change things.
Yeah.
Read it and change it. Read it, change it. I don't just say, okay, I'm going to finish it. I'm going to rewrite from the beginning. No, I can't do that.
No, we don't either.
So
I think you find when you put it down and you pick it back up again later, you got a fresh pair of eyes. You're looking at it and you're going, wait a minute, that's not what I wrote.
But we're constantly rewriting.
Yeah, we are
We go back and rewrite
from it. Yeah.
without going away from it. George DeSmuke says, "Trust me, Vincent. There is nothing you can say about Hollywood that is bad enough."
Well, I understand.
George knows he was pretty active in Hollywood.
I understand that. It's not that it was bad. I mean, I had a good 5 years there. I worked at Fox, so but looking at it one way, looking back on it, I realized that there is an obstacle it's a huge obstacle, that's all. And you just got to you either keep on going and live out of your car, which I refused to do because it was cheap and it had no top. So that was part of the problem. But, or you find another way. I mean, if you really...
says we've heard way too many horror stories about Hollywood screenwriters and rewrites.
Yeah, I had a writing partner one time, and we were pitching this woman, I should say executive at some company rather than say a woman. And she just said on and on and on and on and on about change this, change that, change that. And so ultimately we went to the Writers Guild, and they were on our side, and they said, look, it's enough. Pay them for what they've done and go goodbye. It's really, I'd rather actually focus on the fact that I was able to find an outlet for whatever creativity I have and put it into books than worry about what I didn't do in Hollywood as a screenwriter. I mean, I had some success, nothing got made, but I got some sales. And that is enough to, okay, I did it. But now on to the next saloon. It's really just trying to be as positive as you can in some way in negative business. And then you look at a lot of what, this is not about Hollywood. I'm not here to talk about Hollywood, but you look at a lot of things, and my perception, my conclusion, a lot of young guys and women probably are in those creative positions in Hollywood, and they're trying to redo the stuff that they enjoyed when they were kids, and now they're bringing it. So you had 1,000 X-Men comics when you were a kid. So now we have to have 1,000 X-Men movies. It doesn't translate across demographics. It only translates to a small demographic. And I've always felt that there was a need, and I'm not going to try to fill it right now, but there was a need for people, for certain generational movies, that you had to find a way to reach people of a certain age, not old people, but people who have had some life experience and who respond to subject matter that is not, Martians attacking, downtown New York or whatever it is. So that's that. But as far as writing books, I've written one nonfiction book, which was an interesting experience. But as far as writing books, I just feel it's a matter of control. I now have control over this. I have control of the words, and I have an editor who's a wonderful woman who is in Houston, and she has edited every book, every novel I've written, and made it much, much better. And I just, to me, that's the way to go. As long as I can find ideas and put them down on paper, I'll just keep doing it. And hopefully, What does that mean?
Okay, Joe Conjal says, it sounds like you're a pantser more than a plotter. Well, a plotter is a person who plots out the whole book from beginning to end
with an outline.
An outline, and then writes. Pantser, you fly by the seat of your pants and you write as it comes.
I have never written an outline. I've never written an outline for anything.
We didn't think so.
Never written an outline. You know, what I do, I sit outside and I have a cigar, and I have a yellow pad, and this, and that's how I come up. I write down whatever. Yeah, I just can't do it any other way.
So Chris Chrisman says, creatives have to create. Great if folks buy our stuff, we would still do it anyway.
Exactly. That's true.
Deb McCurdy said nothing beats originality. So that's what she's agreeing with you about.
Thank you, Deb. I appreciate that.
And this brings us up to our first break.
Yeah.
We do need to break so that our sponsors will be happy.
Already a word from our sponsors. Yeah, time flies on here. Let me tell you.
So when we come back, you're going to read for us, right?
If I have to, sure.
Well, you don't have to. That's always been optional.
I think you.
This is okay. Go ahead. We'll be back.
Think about it for 3 minutes, and we'll be right back.
All right.
Don't go away, folks.
I'll be here.
Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Now comes part 4 in the Jaguar series by retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. In this saga, Brandon, Andrea, and Naja, the Black Jaguar, go deep into the Mato Grosso jungle on a mission to rescue 2 kidnapped children. During their journey, they encounter many dangers, including Yanomami Indians, bent on revenge for the murder of one of their warriors.
Return of the Jaguar is book 4 in the Jaguar series, starting with 2 faces of the Jaguar, the Lost City, and the Jaguar's Quest. All 4 are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other bookseller websites worldwide. Return of the Jaguar is a must-read.
It's 1919, and Eric Laska returns from the war in Europe. 2 new enemies await him in the small, coal-mining town he calls home. One is a threat to his relationship with Rebecca, the love of his life. The other, a bloodthirsty beast, is stalking the mining town residents. The townspeople suspect Eric of one of the killings. An old man and Rebecca's 11-year-old sister have seen the beast, but only Eric believes their story. To protect the town and clear his name, he's forced to prove the werewolf exists. Available on Amazon. The Horror Within by Marjorie Swift Doring.
The clock is ticking. Can Gracie uncover the truth?
Philip Pliant is the wealthy opportunist plastics dealer and CEO of Pliant Industries. He's also a master thief, creating a pervasive threat to the manufacturing infrastructure in the Caribbean islands markets. With the cartel as his stealth client, the naive city leaders have been seduced, enabling the production of more than 3-dimensional building materials.
The expected profits are monstrous.
Is the art group, now led by Gracie and the family heirs, strong enough to win against this predator?
Can JJ's cats act on the root cause analysis in time?
Will Gracie be able to squash Pliant and the cartels?
Gracie never considered their lives would hang in the balance. The clock is ticking. 5, 4, 3.
Hey, now that last commercial that was on, that's about the Enigma Tracer, and it's by Brakefield and Berkey. They don't mention that in the audio, so for you folks that are just listening, that's who wrote the book. That. Yeah, it's available on Amazon.
Also, I have a few comments we need to catch up on. Bill Nelson, Blood and Fire by Bill Nelson, released today. And also, let's see. Chris Chrisman says he loves the trailer, George. We do too. That was a good trailer. Chanel, hello, Lovey. How are you? I hope you're feeling good. Chanel said, I don't like most movies that were originally books. If I do like a movie, it's because the book made me want to see more. Yes.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Nathan says, cool. Hi, Nathan. Glad
Hi,
you're
Nathan.
back. Okay.
All right. So
We're caught up.
you would like to read?
Sure.
Did you decide you like to read?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, this is really a tease because if you haven't read the book, this will make absolutely no sense, but I hope it makes you want to read the book.
Okay.
Rosalie hoped her nosy neighbors were impressed when they saw a priest come to her door. Most likely, she thought, it was the first time they'd viewed a man of God enter the former house of a condemned and electrocuted cop killer. Steve planned the visit well in advance before returning to finish completion of St. Anne's. He sounded stiff and hesitant on the phone at first. When she questioned him about it, Steve said he didn't want to cause undue gossip or bring any scandal into Rosalie's life. What scandal? Rosalie asked. She was convinced there was and never would be any scandal in their lives, especially Stephanie's, her daughter. She had a father. For consumption of the curious, he died tragically. Neighbors could think what they liked. They didn't matter. Any discussion with Stephanie about her father could wait for a decade or so. This was the first time Rosalie had been completely alone with Steve since Stephanie was conceived. She sensed he was also uneasy. Steve resisted any physical contact, trying to avoid Rosalie's chaste kiss on his cheek. Kissing your cheek won't get me pregnant, Rosalie said, laughing at his useless effort. His sheepish smile caused Rosalie to relax more as well. Unspoken was their awareness that, while parents of a lovely baby, they could not rely on the evolving intimacy of married couples to bring comfort. Steve declined coffee and sat at the end of the sofa, hugging its arm as if for security. Rosalie carried the bassinet into the living room and sat it on the sofa next to Steve. He had yet to look directly at Stephanie. Rather than take offense, she took charge. You're the guy who led hundreds of cabbies on strike, and now you're hugging a pillow for protection against what? Me, a baby, your daughter? Steve wiped sweaty palms on the knees of his black trousers. Visiting Rosalie and the baby in their hospital room with his mother was safe. Now he was alone with his child and her mother. It was a daunting conflict. Me neither. So look at her and then look at me. We won't bite. He looked at Stephanie and smiled nervously across the room. She's pretty. She's not much now. Just wait 10 or 20 years. She'll make me look like the Wicked Witch of the West. That's it.
Very intriguing. Very interesting indeed.
What would you say is, how would you describe the genre of this book?
Oh,
is it historical fiction possibly?
It takes place in the 50s. So, I mean, you could say it's historical fiction, but I really, it's hard for me to class. I just write them. I can't categorize them.
It's sort of, the story of a man's life. Basically.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's 50 years in the life of a man.
There you go. Okay.
And the man happens to be a priest, and lots of things happen to him and around him.
George Dismuke said, I just received notice from Amazon in the past 5 minutes. Return of the Jaguar has finally been published. Hallelujah.
Congratulations.
Yes.
George. Finally, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So
Vindy Publishing, Vincent.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, you just got to go after it. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
And not listen to, your book is ranked 1,785th. I don't care. If people read it, and that's partly what I'm trying to do, is to get people to read it. That means buying it, but you can buy it on a Kindle or any place. But if they read it and they like it and they have a good review, and thank God These Thy Gifts has gotten some very good reviews. There's about 60 of them or so, and I'm pleased, and good reads as well. So then my job is to write another one.
Indeed,
and,
it is.
I really have to get over this. I don't want to say writer's block. It's just I'm confused, which is not unusual, but I am. And so once I realize that there is a character in the book that's not adding to it, that's causing more confusion, and that's getting away from whatever the central characters are, then he goes. Too bad. It's short life, gone.
Well, if you're ranked 1 million or 2 million or even 5 million out of 32 million, that's not bad.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's got putting everything in perspective, which is the most important thing to do, I think, in life in general, and it carries through to the books, because if you don't, then you got to be in reality. Everything's got to be reality based, I think. I think I'm now encouraged, talking to you, to get into that book. I have to do taxes, but I can still, wait a while for taxes.
Yes, you need to
starting tomorrow.
Strike while the creative iron is hot. Joe Ponchel said, just being curious, being a professional sports agent sounds like it could be challenging and exciting. What made you leave that world behind?
Basically, I ran out of clients, and I really didn't want to. My clients either were released by their teams or went to Japan and got hurt and came home, and that was that. And I said, I've done it for about 10 years, and I've had some success with some of these guys getting into major league teams. And, hitting your head against the stone wall is just not, after a while, it gets to be annoying as well as painful, but it's just really, so you move on, I mean, you think about how many careers you can have in your life, how many different things you can do in your life, and you find something that, so that's what, both baseball and writing in Hollywood, they're glamorous, they're enticing, they are addictive. And so once you get your experience, rather that you suck the juice out of the orange than have the juice sucked out of you. And that's the way I felt about both of them. So, I've done it. I've given whatever, I had whatever. And maybe I just didn't have a goal that was high enough. Maybe I just wanted to do it, experience it, and then move on.
Joy York said, I think I would have a hard time dealing with the egos. Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. I agree. Both in when I worked at Fox, I worked with casts of various series and movies that they did. And you had to put up with, or you had to understand a lot. And, maybe I'm too selfish. Maybe I just care about myself. I don't care about anybody else. So it's a bad so it's a bad business to get into, where I had to take care of somebody else. I could never be a nurse, for example. You don't want to take the medication, don't take the medication. What do I care?
Joe Poncho says,
your choice, right?
Have you thought about writing a novel about baseball?
Yes and no. I think there have been some novels out there about baseball. And although I haven't read any, no, it could be, who knows? I'd rather write something that's dark. Maybe there's something dark about baseball. I don't know. Yeah, there were a lot of people that I met and interacted with who are really good characters. But that's not something I've thought about very much to do again. I'm looking for something else to go after. I'd like to finish this one book because I like to finish it. But I like to finish it in a way that I don't rush it or compromise just to finish it. Oh, it's done. I'd like to make it halfway decent. I'd like to make it whole, a lot of decent.
Joe Conchel says, a baseball murder mystery. That would be dark.
I mean, certainly there could be, and there are a lot of, this is, there were guys that really screwed me in baseball. I killed them in my novel.
There you go.
So it was, that's that. That's one way, certainly.
George Dismuke says, malarkey, Hollywood equals politics. It has nothing to do with how good you are.
Well, that's true. I mean, it's very true. I think that, let's say you're a series writer. Well, you get in with a couple of people at studios who like you, who manage to get you assignments to various series. I mean, it's about personalities and it's about contacts and who likes who and who feels that the other person sitting across the desk from them, can improve their life.
George
Sorry, go ahead.
George wrote for Gunsmoke. He wrote for the character of Festus. He wrote the dialogue for Festus.
Yeah. Well,
that's just one of the things he did in Hollywood.
I love that series, and
me too.
But if you get in with a group of people, let's say your best friend becomes a showrunner at various series, well, and he brings you along, and that continues your career. And if not, you just go from here to there to there. There used to be an expression from pillar to post, whatever that means now, I don't know. But that's used to mean, you just go from there to there to there. So, I got to the point where I just didn't want to do that anymore. Maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe I didn't, maybe I didn't want to play the game and be nice to people that I didn't like.
Yeah, I think George's point was it doesn't have anything to do with you were good or not. It's
just
the way the business is.
No, I agree. Sorry.
Yeah, I have a question for you. You said when you started as a sports writer.
Right.
How do you think that's impacted your career as far as going in and doing your writing? Do you think that had a major influence on it?
No, but what I think the way it impacted, thinking about it now, I learned to write fast.
Okay.
I learned to write, as a sports writer at UPI, United Press International, which was in competition at the time with the Associated Press, which managed to surpass UPI. And UPI is, I don't know what they're doing now. But I never see their byline in the paper anywhere. But I had to write and it had to go fast, and then it went out over the wire. Then somebody was actually taking the paper putting it into, that was so long ago, they were just starting to work with having computer typeset. Come on, it was like 2 years after Gutenberg, So you had to write fast. And so you get information in from somebody who was a stringer someplace, and you had to turn it into a story and get it to this guy, and you had to get it out. And so I think that's really part of maybe that's a good trait. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Sometimes I think
it's a good trait. I think it's a great trait.
Wish I
You
could
have the right thinking on your feet there.
Yeah.
Maybe it should be more reflective. Maybe I should take 14 years to write a novel. I don't know.
No.
You know? But
Chris Chrisman says, I have changed careers several times over my life.
Somewhere I read that, of course, you can have as many as 6 or 7 careers in your life, and you can think about going back. You know, not necessarily you deliver newspapers as a kid, but this and that and that and that, and there you are. You know.
Yeah. George says the happiest day in my life to that point was when I left Hollywood in California.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's good to be happy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not leaving California. I'm waiting for the rain to come, actually. It's supposed to come tonight, but they always say it's going to rain. It never rains.
Yeah, it never rains in Southern California.
I'm waiting for the rain because it would be nice to have rain. I mean, we go away during the holidays, finding a place where it's cold and rainy.
Yeah.
I'm tired of 90-degree heat.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of rain, I think it's time for our second batch of commercials here.
Believe it or not, folks.
Yeah.
Don't go away.
So don't go away.
We'll be right back.
And here's a word from our sponsors.
It's every parent's worst nightmare. Police officer Madison Jackson awakes to discover her baby kidnapped from her crib. Was it revenge for someone she arrested or something far more sinister? Madison's estranged husband is incarcerated in Supermax. As the second in command of a deadly Mexican cartel, did he issue the order to abduct their daughter? Bye, Baby, Bye, from author Kelly Marshall. Get your copy today.
Paradise, my prison. Charlie Flint awakens from a deep sleep and finds himself alone on a tropical beach surrounded by a palm tree jungle and exotic animals. He cannot remember who he is or anything about his life. First, he must find food and build shelter and protect himself from hidden dangers. As his memory gradually returns, it reveals what a very flawed person he is. A man who made too many mistakes, made too many enemies. The implications of the truth are staggering. How did Charlie get there? And will he save himself? Paradise, My Prison is the riveting new suspense thriller from retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. Paradise, My Prison by George Dismukes is available in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats worldwide.
Step into the captivating world of skullduggery, where a family of isolated peasant copyholders finds themselves thrust into a web of danger that threatens their very existence. Set against the tumultuous backdrop of the English Reformation, this meticulously researched historical mystery unfolds with a cast of both lovable and despicable characters, immersing you in a fully realized world that's both utterly believable and fantastically unbelievable. Author Paul Rushworth Brown weaves a spellbinding narrative that transports you to Yorkshire, England, in the 16th and 17th centuries, offering an authentic and gritty portrayal of peasant life. The pages come alive with vivid descriptions, crafting an atmosphere that pulls you deeper into a story of crime, murder, and suspense like no other.
Hi, I'm Paul Rushworth Brown, author of Skullduggery, Red Winter Journey, and Demon Courage, just recently released. I hope you enjoy Skullduggery, the second edition. Cheers.
We're back, and Chanel says, I still have my computer from 1982. It takes nearly 2 minutes to boot up. And she also says, come to Wisconsin. It's been raining for 2 weeks here. Yeah, you've been freezing there too. Rob's brother lives there. It's freezing.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was in Stevens Point, Wisconsin on business when I was in the PR business in New York. And we had a client, Century, it's called Century Insurance. I don't know if they're still around. So we went and we had a meeting. And then time to go back the next day. And an ice storm had come in overnight. Every branch was covered in ice. And it took me 12 hours to get back to New York. Ultimately, I got back. But that's my experience in Wisconsin. And I've been to Wisconsin before, and it's great. But that was the one experience. I guess I should have gone in another season.
They have good cheese there.
Yeah.
His brother lives in Wisconsin.
Great cheese. Yeah, wonderful cheese. Yeah, that's for sure.
Every time we visit his brother, even in August, it's cold. So,
Vincent, who does your covers for you?
I have, there's a guy in England who does them, and he's done The Music of Women, These Thy Gifts, Shared Sorrows, and A Woman to Blame. And I wish I could tell you off the top of my head his name. I could send it to you later, but I like him a lot. I've had one woman did the Scopus Factor, which is very interesting cover that I like. And
it looks like Italy.
It's different, yeah.
Yeah, it's where is it set? I mean, it's set in several different places. It's set in Antibes and in the States. But she did a really great job. We just worked on that one cover. And then earlier, whoever published the book earlier on, they gave me two choices of covers. Now that cover was done by the publisher, and a friend of mine thought it was too drab, and she came in, she looked at it, and she just added more color to it. So that was made it pop out. But covers, I think covers are really important to independent publishers, independent writers. And I think that I've been lucky to have some that were pretty good. But unfortunately, if you're on a small budget, when you start out, you tend to go with whoever will give you a cover or make a cover that included in the package. Later on, I decided that I couldn't do that, and I tried to find. I had somebody. It was on the East Coast, but that didn't work out. And then I found this guy in England, and he's really very good. What I will do is I'll get you his name and send it to you.
It's not Crispian, is it?
Crispian?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay. Because he's going to do ours. Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, that's good. I mean, if you have somebody that you like, it's very good.
I know they have more than one in England, I'm sure.
So Linus Rockford wants to know, is it tricky coming up with the titles?
Yes and no. I'm trying to think. A Woman to Blame, which is the first novel, I used a Jimmy Buffett song, Margaritaville.
Which one was that?
A Woman to Blame.
A Woman to Blame. A Woman to Blame.
Some people say there's a woman to blame, but I know it's my own damn fault. And that's the fact that it was his own damn fault, and the women were not to blame, is the way there was a twist on that. These Thy Gifts, I don't know if it's a strong title or not, but that's the title. It comes from the prayer of grace, at meals. Bless us, O Lord, for these Thy gifts that we're about to receive from Thy bounty through Christ, O Lord, amen, blah, blah. So these and in a way, it does work because, excuse me, whatever his experiences are kind of gifts in a way. He's gifted in the idea of of realizing that he has to atone. And anyhow, that's that. Shared Sorrows comes from a conversation or in the book, two people who have their own sorrows. Her father was a fireman, and he dies in a major blaze at a time when it was the greatest fatalities of the fire department, and at that time, and then came 9/11, which became the greatest fatalities of the fire department. his father died on the night that her father was killed, and her brother died. Anyhow, the shared sorrows comes from that. And the music of women is because this guy's in a coma, and he identifies the women in his life who come to visit him in the coma by the music that precedes them. That's that.
Well, before we go on to any more comments, and we do have some more comments we need to get to, I want to let you know how you can find Vincent, because pretty soon we're going to have to say goodbye to the Atlanta section of our audience. You can find Vincent's website at www.vincentpanettiere.com, and that's VINCENTPANETTIERE. But he would prefer that you email him because he checks that more often. And you can reach him there at vpane13@gmail.com, and that's VPANE13. All right. So, and he would love to hear from you and see what's going on.
And send money. Yes.
Send money.
One of our authors has a PayPal link so that people can buy him a cup of tea.
So Joe Concha wants to know, do you get the idea for the story first and then figure out the title, or does a title come to mind and then inspire the story?
Well, in the case of A Woman to Blame, the title came as soon as I heard that phrase in the song, and I said, well, let's see what we can do to make that fit. The others came after I wrote the book. The Scopus Factor was, I think, the title of the script that I'd written, and it was another one of those things where there was no Scopus Factor. Scopus was you can barely find him mentioned in any kind of college art history book. He was he had some works that were not well known, and he had no input on it. There was no Scopus Factor in the story. They weren't looking for it, but they didn't find it, and so that was one of the things that I thought was interesting about it, that you could get people off on a tangent and get them lost looking for something that they were never going to find. So, and the others, I don't know. That was about it. And then the other nonfiction book was called The Internet Financing Illusion. And that was about an attempt to find financing for various projects on the internet. I was involved, and 8 or 10 other people were involved. And we all had been in contact with a woman in India, in Kolkata, India, otherwise previously known as Calcutta, who said that she had $30 billion to finance all of our projects. She was going to sell the gold, blah, blah, blah. Well, after 8 months, she was really just having fun, talking through her hat. She had a million reasons. It was a great experience to understand how me, as well as everybody else, could get caught up in an illusion that there was something there. We wanted it so badly. We wanted the results so badly. We refused, maybe not consciously refusing, but we refused to think about the reality. Where is there something tangible that you can point to? Did we get, letters and contracts from lawyers from top firms in India or England or wherever? No, we just fueled ourselves with the prospect of something something's going to be great from West Side Story. It's really just an illusion. And I really learned a lot from that. And I wrote the book as a way of debriefing myself on what I'd been through for eight months. So, I wish her well, but she just disappeared. And it's interesting, she was a woman who, in her 20s or something, who really wanted to be taken care of by older men. And this is on the internet. This is not, if some guy in the group paid attention to her and she would focus on him or work with him. It was just a great experience, a weird experience. A lot of people
learning experience.
But it was an experience.
Well, it's time to say goodbye to all of our viewers and listeners on WDJY in Atlanta, and we'll see you next Thursday at 9:00.
Yes.
The rest of you, on with the show. Chanel says, I associate my dad to music. He always makes me think of an old song, white sports coat and a pink carnation. And then Chris Crimsman said, that's Marty Robbins. And she said, yes.
That's 1955 or 56 high school is what it is for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very appreciative of both of you for this. But this has been a lot of fun, and
we're not going anywhere. We just had to say goodbye to Atlanta.
I want to say this while I'm thinking of it.
Okay.
I really appreciate this and being here and you guys. I'm sure you've done a lot of good for a lot of writers who have come on and talked to you and kind of used this as a psychologist's couch. But, this has been really, I'm really having fun. I hope that I was halfway intelligent doing this. I'm trying to get a compliment. I don't want you to say, oh yes, you're very intelligent. Oh my God, you're the most intelligent guy we've ever had. And I don't want that. That's not what I'm asking for. I'm just saying, I hope I did my part. That's all.
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
and what
absolutely.
I want you to know, though, is how you said about rewriting as you go along, and maybe not a lot of authors do that. A lot of authors do that. That's I want to encourage you to keep doing that, because that's exactly how we write. We rewrite and edit ourselves constantly.
That's how you get it closer to being right.
I know. You hone it. You hone it.
You're so close to it. You're so close to it when you first write it that you can't see it as well. So you have to go back and read it out loud sometimes.
Multiple times.
Often. And reread it and change the way you wrote things, turn it around sometimes,
Yeah, that's where I am now. I realized that I went one bridge too far. I had one character in there that was just too much, and he was upsetting everybody else.
Fire him.
You know what they say, throw the bum out.
Throw the bum out.
I killed him in my books. That's all. I just...
there you go. Well, that was rather severe, but okay.
Yeah, well, it's...
You could have just fired him. You could have laid him off.
This is really like you're dead. You're not coming back. No, you're not going to be in any other book, so get lost,
There you go.
Joy York says, I rewrite as I go, too. I think a lot of people, I know Paul Hollis does. He's being quiet, but I know that that's how he does. He rewrites as he goes. And, you know.
And yes, to do that, you then have to kind of make things fit together as down the road. I mean, if you start here and rewrite blah, 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 and this is something, but then it has to fit down here. So it helps you do the whole thing over better, I think.
It's so funny because Paul said something that I've often said to Rob. One time he said, by the time I get to the end of the book, I'm sick of it. It's true.
That is true.
Yes. And Paul Hollis said, yes, I do. I do rewrite as I go.
You were back there somewhere.
Yeah, he's just being quiet. And Chris Chrisman said, I rewrite too as I go. So I think a lot of authors do that. So you don't need to feel like that's, Plus, I don't think there's any way you need to write or have to write. The whole point of view thing and everything, you have to do your voice the way you do your voice, and you have to write the way you write. It's a creative project, and you have to let it go as you go.
Everybody's an editor.
Yes.
Well,
I guess
that's the thing. there used to be something when I was working in the PR business, and you would be doing something for a client, and you'd say, if you put this piece of paper down in somebody's desk, they feel obligated to work on it, to change it, to do this, to do that, the comma, to this. So, everybody is a writer, everybody's an editor, and you just have to understand that some people, okay, they have an opinion, great, keep it to yourself, don't bother me, go away, and I'll just do it my way. And
Joy York says, sometimes if you doing you get to the end and say, I knew I should have changed that, more work now.
Yeah, well, that's
if you don't rewrite, that is. But otherwise, rewriting, you miss that part. And Joe Conjal says, I do too. I also edit what I wrote the day before, also before writing any new parts.
Yes, I do too.
Yeah,
it's a slow process, but it has to happen.
And then sometimes we go back and then we even re-edit again. So,
and to have, I don't know if you work, but if you have an experienced professional editor, like I have had Susan Hughes in my for all these books, that helps. That takes half the work of editing off of you, because you can at least work with somebody who has your interest at heart and who gives you one version of something, and you can compare it with what you want. And then if it works, it works. If her version works, fine. If mine works, that's fine too. But a lot of times, my version is the version.
Do you use beta readers at all?
No, I don't. I don't even know what that is.
Oh, well, beta readers are people that you give the book to before it goes out in advance
of
it being published.
Yeah.
And then they go through and they tell you what they think about it so that you can change things. Like, I know that for us, well, I told you before the show, I'm Irish Catholic from Boston. And we named one of our protagonists in our series Siobhan, which is a very common name in Boston.
Well, in Ireland too.
And in Ireland too. Well, yeah, that's why it's common in Boston. But so one of our beta readers came back and said, I don't understand what this name is. Is it like Swedish or something? And I went, Swedish. So then we spelled it out phonetically in the book, Siobhan, and then said it means Joan in Irish. So then they know that. So.
But we
it was
think
helpful.
Of that,
We didn't. That was something we wouldn't think of because
it was a big thing.
It's something we're used to. I mean, our kids' name are Sean and Colleen, and so to us it was a common name, Rory and Liam and Ronan, and but so sometimes the beta readers are good because they'll tell you
I think for me, my editor Susan just
does that for
the
you.
Person that I really rely on, and if she had an objection to something, then we would discuss it, and if if it works, it works. If not, it's not. I mean, I have friends who would read some things from here, but I don't really want to put a lot of responsibility on somebody. Again, the person you give a piece of paper to feels they have to make changes. So somebody I don't know or somebody I know who's a friend feels they have to put in their 2 cents. I don't necessarily want their 2 cents. That's why I don't give it to them, because I don't want it.
You don't have to agree with it.
No.
You don't have to agree with what the beta
readers say. There's one more thing that you got to.
So the short answer to your question is no. I don't use beta readers. That's the short answer. I'm sorry.
There you go.
That's fine. You don't have to. Not everyone does.
Yeah, I think it's tricky in a way because it would be nice to have a third or fourth review of something. But, I'm doing this because I want to do it my way. And if I wanted to write scripts, I would go and let, this D girl do that and that person do that and the other person do. I'm not doing that. I want to do it my way. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, but it's my way.
Exactly.
That might be narrow-minded. It might be old-fashioned. It might be all kinds of things. But it's only ultimately my way, and it stands or fall. And I stand or fall on the results. Luckily, and I'm really pleased. The books have gotten, some more than others, have gotten nice reviews on Amazon. And whatever that means, if it's only for my ego, that's good.
Joe Conchel says, Vincent, have you ever been a part of a critique group? I think I can tell you that no, he hasn't.
That's exactly right. You read my mind. I have not.
I'm not sure how we knew that.
No, I at the same time, a friend of mine wrote a novel, and it was good. I mean, I enjoyed reading it. I didn't know what to say, actually. Aside from there were parts in a general way. There are parts that I liked, but I'm not going to tell anybody that they have to go in and disembowel their work and start from the beginning.
I understand what you're saying.
I agree with that.
I understand what you're saying because that's his voice.
That's his voice.
That's the way.
And it's valid.
And it is a valid. Not everybody has to like every book, but there's a reader. I do believe there are readers for every book.
Right. If you like their book, it's super important to leave a review.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything nice to say about it,
say why you liked it, because that's what I look for when I read a review. There are certain things that I like,
constructive,
and if it has something in the review that is like I like to read a book that talks about that, then I'm going to buy that book.
And if you have a criticism, send the author an email or something privately. You don't have to blast them in a review. You know what I'm saying?
Joy makes a good point. She said, I miss critique groups. Mine fell apart during the pandemic. So valuable. You take what input you agree with. Exactly. And that's the same with the beta readers. The thing with the beta readers is if you get 4 people all saying, I don't understand what you're trying to say in this part. I mean, if it's just one person, but that's the way you want to write it. But if people are not understanding what you're trying to say, it's good to know that you need to reword it a little bit. So that's why I think it's helpful.
Yeah. That's
like you said, we all have to do the way we need to do it, you know. Plus, then you don't have to do what they say anyway. It is your book. It's your voice. And it's the same thing with grammar. If you're writing in a certain way, if you want to say it that way, even if the grammar isn't correct, then say it that way because it gets your voice across, the emphasis that you're trying to say. Yeah, I'll get off.
Never mind. I agree with that. So that's why, I don't really care. It's out there. People like it. They read it. They don't like it. I mean, I think I've gotten a 1 star a couple of times, and I'm saying, don't bother me. 1 star. Come on. But that's okay. Look, when you put something out, when you put yourself out there, you have to be ready to the response. If you're not going to be ready for a response, don't put yourself out there.
And if you get 1-star reviews, it brings more validity to your 4- and 5-star reviews.
Yeah. I just don't. I don't pay it. I mean, I let it go because there are a lot of people out there who liked it, and they said they liked it, and so
exactly.
If you're not going to be ready for somebody not to like you, then don't do it. Stay
Right, put it on the
close
shelf.
the door, and that's it. Don't let the world go by. But if you're going to put yourself out there, then
Don't publish it. The whole point in
think
publishing is to get it out there. You know.
I mean, in terms of say difference between books and writing screenplays, with a book, with a screenplay, you've got this whole chain that has to like it. With a book, nobody has to like it. I decided it's out there. A few people like it. A few people read it. That's okay. But I don't want to have to be depending on being approved by this whole chain of people, because that's the system. This reader goes to that reader, goes to that executive, goes to his pile, goes to the next. That's a death by 1,000 cuts for me.
Yeah.
This way, I write it, it's out. Somebody reads it, they like it, they don't like it, fine, we move on. I don't know. I probably am not very, sociable. So the fewest amount of people that I have to deal with is the best.
Joy York says younger input is also valuable because their perceptions are so different. That's and
I don't care. I don't care about their perceptions. Who were born yesterday, and just found. I don't care about those perceptions.
That's not his audience that he's writing for. No. It's for our generation.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I am not. I am older than a lot of people. My doctors are younger than me. My doctors could be my kids. So obviously my perception is different than everybody else's. And I don't have to, I'm getting off the subject, but I don't want to care about their perceptions. I don't care about my perception. And my perception is I want to write this book. I want to get it out. If somebody likes it, fine. I'll go on to write another book.
Yeah. And it's the writing that's great. It's the creating.
Creating a world. Yeah.
You're creating a world. Chris Christman said, Vincent is refreshingly honest.
That's true.
Why is that refreshing?
Because a lot of people are not.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I can't just be, I'm here I am. That's it.
Joy says, you must write what fulfills you and makes you happy. I agree.
Yes, absolutely.
I agree so much with that. That's why I said I don't care about POV. Everybody has an opinion about that. It's so important. You know what? You need to really write what fulfills you, like Joy said.
Yeah.
Chris Christman says, I am me, I like me. Hello.
That's the way you do it.
Chanel said, I miss reading. My strokes cost me my sight, and I can only see now out of my left eye. So she has to have large print books and books on tape or CD now, and it's not the same. I know. I'm sorry, Chanel. Yeah, it's been rough. Well, she's only 50, but she has bone cancer.
Well, I'm wishing you. Just wishing her peace and strength. That's all you can do.
Amen.
Along those lines about audio, are your books available in audio?
No, they're not.
No. Are you planning on doing that?
Actually, the books are published by BookBaby, and I like BookBaby a lot. Mm-hmm. And I like working with them. I like the way their royalties are structured, and I get actually, you can see how much what's selling and what's not selling, which is one of the reasons why I left a company that's now no longer around, CreateSpace or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why I moved These Not Gifts to BookBaby, because I could never tell if they was sold. I could never, anyhow. The point is, BookBaby sent me something about they were going to use a computer to read the book. And
that's right, AI, yeah.
And I said, okay, so we did it, and they sent me back, but it was disgusting. It was the worst. And I mean, I could say it maybe better, but disgusting was really the way it was. It was just garbled. I mean, so we just said, thanks a lot. And we parted, and that was fine.
Well, the heart is gone from it when that happens.
Oh yeah,
the heart, you know.
And you know, I don't think whoever it was. I mean, it's got to have the AI, but they couldn't read English. They just did. You know, you just so. They're not. And for me right now, it's too expensive to go and get an actor to read the books. I had years and years ago.
Chanel says, "Thank you, Vincent."
Oh well, please take care of yourself. And I had colon cancer about 15 years ago, and so I have I'm in the club, so to speak, and so I just wish everybody who has that terrible disease to be as strong as possible and be as positive as possible. I went through it as a complete ignoramus, and I think that's why I got through it, because I was just too stupid to understand what was going on. But really, I just feel for people who have. Not that it does anything to make them better, but I just have great empathy for it. So, and I wish I would.
I think it does help. I think that does help.
You know,
Joe Conjal said, "Do you do your own marketing, or does Book Baby handle that for you?"
Book Baby gave me a publicist for one of the first books. We set up an appointment. Publicist was on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. I don't know many people on the East Coast who can actually add or subtract 3. And so I reminded this publicist that she was late in calling me, and she got into a tiff, and then we never worked together again. And that was so. I tried doing my own marketing. I mean, come on.
You know us. We're on the East. We're on the East Coast.
We can do other people who know how to tell time. Subtract 3. But I worked for I don't know how many years on the East Coast and talked to people on the West Coast, and I knew there was a 3-hour difference.
Yeah,
that's right.
I know the difference between here and Honolulu in terms of time, but I know the difference between New York and LA.
Yeah, but you can figure that out on your phone now.
All you
can
have to do is look.
It's too difficult.
Do this and you can find out in 2
what
seconds.
What time is it in LA?
Yeah.
And Google tells you.
Yeah, that's true. It's 5:18 in LA. Anyway,
Joe York says, "I have 2 books with Book Baby, one coming out in March. They're very professional." And she said, "I don't like the visual readers either."
Well, I don't know what the visual readers are. You mean like ebooks?
No,
she means
the AI, like
the
you were
AI
talking
speaking.
about.
Oh yeah. No, that's. It looks like we are destined to become captives of AI. I mean, I just can't imagine how this happened all of a sudden. I mean, I wasn't asleep, but there they are.
She meant virtual readers.
Oh yeah.
Which is the AI? That's the computer.
Big story today about all the jobs that are going to be lost in the entertainment industry due to AI. Mm-hmm. I mean, thousands and thousands of jobs.
Well, they're doing art and they're writing books and they're, it's.
I mean, it's one thing to get some robocall with a computer, somebody on the end trying to sell you life insurance or health insurance. Mm-hmm. But now you're going to. I'm sorry.
Or a warranty.
Or yeah, I mean, now you're going to have people actually doing things that impact on the society. And I know that sounds like those old folks, but
we are. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. There's got to be some regulation of this. You just can't have it. It's like having crabgrass all over the place,
I think it's terrifying. I really do. We have, we have 2 of our children are artists, and one of our son-in-laws is an artist, and we write books. And I I don't want AI taking that over. I think that people should be able to continue to create. And I think I think a lot of us are just creative and we have to create. And if we're not creating something, you get unhappy, And yeah, I think it's really scary, all the things that they're letting AI do. I really do.
Yeah, it's, the idea that technology overall, technology can do anything, blah, 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 blah. Well, pull the plug, have no electricity, and what is technology going to do? If you have a piece of paper and a pencil, you can do a lot of things. I told you before, I'm a Luddite. I'm happy to be a Luddite. I don't necessarily have to know all the things that are going on in technology. I'll use what I need, and if it doesn't satisfy what I need, then I don't need it and go away. Don't intrude. But these people that kind of kneel at the altar of technology, I mean, come on, where did you leave your brain?
Well, paper and pencil doesn't depend on the electricity being on, unless you're trying to write in the dark.
That's all, yeah. So we'll see what happens. But I think the idea is to go ahead, be true to yourself, do what you have to do for yourself, make yourself enjoy life, and let the rest of it do whatever it has to do. Just don't bother me. That's it.
I think he prefers his email too.
Oh, that's fine. That's great. Thank you very much.
Because that's how people can get in touch with us, through his email than his website.
What else? I could talk about the weather.
I think we've run.
Yeah, we've run the gamut here. So I think what we're going to do is, unless you have anything else you'd like to add.
No, I think this has been wonderful. We could have this conversation every day. It would be fine.
I know.
There you go.
It's really been. First, I said I appreciate both you guys, but the comfort is really a major part of this whole experience for me. It's been very comfortable. It's been like, I saw you yesterday for the first time in my life. I get all your stuff on whatever it is that
Indie Book Source.
Indie Book Source, yeah.
Indie Book Source, but whatever that. Where people go to put jobs up, whatever I forget.
Oh,
LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all over LinkedIn.
And so I've seen all that, and I appreciate the times you've mentioned me in the books. And I don't know you. I met you yesterday. I might as well have known you forever. It's very, very comfortable.
And thank you.
I just keep doing wonderful work for independent writers.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate it. We're going to move.
We enjoy it.
We do. We do. We enjoy visiting with you.
That's the key. You don't enjoy it, why do it?
There you go.
There you go.
So we're going to move you over to the side. Stay with us.
Don't go away.
Don't go away.
Okay.
We're going to have a little short commercial and an outro, and then
we'll come back.
We'll come back to you, and then we'll wrap up from there. By then, you'll be off the air. But
stay with us.
Got a few comments here. Joy says, great show. Joe Conjal says, interesting and fun show tonight. Thanks, Vincent. And of course, Rob and Joan. Thank you, Joe and Joy. Paul Hollis, thanks, Rob, Joan, and Vincent. Another wonderful show.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. And Janelle says, great show. Loved your guest tonight. And Chris Chrisman, thanks for another great show. And Joy York says, good night, all.
Good night, all.
That's a good one.
It is a good one.
Next week, we have Peter Crowley, author and poet, 7 o'clock, same time, same place, right here.
And if you're watching, the people on Atlanta aren't hearing this anymore anyway.
They're not here anymore anyway. Yeah, so Bill Nelson, awesome. Good luck with your book launch.
Yeah, your book launch today. Good news.
Yeah.
Good thing.
And what we're going to do is we're going to say what we normally would say is until next time.
That's all, folks.
Night.
Good night.
Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen Gees welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie. And you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our websites to our YouTube channel and Spotify.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DV.com.